Dexcom has a new sensor replacement policy that is taking the community by storm, enhancements coming to the Dexcom G7, helping out with connection, and an all-new CGM coming this summer for people with type 2 diabetes not on insulin. I got to speak with Kevin Sayer, the CEO of Dexcom, about all of this and more. I'm Justin, welcome to the Diabet Tech Podcast. On the show, I talk all things diabetes tech, news, and management with tech leaders, physicians, and those thriving with diabetes. I'm in Orlando at ADA, one of the biggest diabetes conferences that happens every year. Now, this is just one piece of all of the coverage I'll be doing this week. I'm also looking at Omnipod's new iPhone app, Medtronic's 7-day infusion set, and I even got to see the Twist pump, the new pump powered by Tidepool, in person. So excited about it. If you're not following me on YouTube yet, make sure you subscribe. If you enjoy this video and you're watching on YouTube, give it a like. This podcast comes out every Monday, and make sure you subscribe on whatever platform you like to listen or watch it on. All right, let's get into the conversation. Kevin, thank you for coming back on the show. I'm happy to have you here.
It's great to be here again. Great here to chat. It's been a little while.
Yeah, this is our second ADA together. I think that's the last time I saw you, actually.
That's right.
So I want to just start with that. ADA, what excites you most about this conference?
You know, I've come to this conference since literally 1994. So aside from the business part, I have relationships here that go back a long time. In fact, someone was showing me photos of myself when I was much younger at this show earlier today. So it's so fun to follow the progress in diabetes care through the eyes of, for example, a lot of these physicians that have taught me about diabetes, in all fairness, because I don't have it. I've learned from them as much as I have from the people at work. Dexcom is a huge presence here. Over the course of my career at Dexcom, we've gone from an afterthought in a tiny booth to pretty much anybody who speaks talks about the effectiveness of their therapy based on Dexcom CGM data. And so it's really gratifying to see that. It's gratifying to see the advances we're making, that our AID partners are making doing this. And just in general, I think we see things getting better across the board. So it's a good show. It's good to be here.
That's great. Yeah, I'm happy to be here too, and to see all the friendly faces I've met in just the 3 years I've been here.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. So can you kind of give us a little the state of Dexcom right now? What's going on with Dexcom?
It's never slow.
Yeah.
We continue to grow rapidly. In 23, we literally had a list of accomplishments so long it could have counted for 10 years. Big accomplishments, for example, we opened our plant in Malaysia and are producing product there to give us more capacity. We launched G7 last year. G7 is going wonderfully. Late last year, early this year, we've launched a version of our Dexcom One Plus product, which is Dexcom One on a G7 platform in several countries in Europe. We continue to roll out more integrated systems with Tandem and Insulet, and those patients are doing very, very well. We're kind of transitioning from G6 to G7. That's ongoing. So the company continues to grow. We are expanding access across the board in the U.S. And in our U.S. markets too. I think the key to our technology in any geography, if we can get access for people, if we can get the product reimbursed, our company grows and people are healthier. And then for us, a new thing, in March, we got the first ever approved over-the-counter continuous glucose monitor for people not on insulin, our Stelo product, which we're talking a bit about at the show, but we're talking more about what we have. I'm talking a lot about Stelo because I can. It's going to be a great experience, and it's going to put us into literally a new frontier of people that we can help. We changed our mission a couple years ago to help people control health rather than just diabetes. And a lot of our employees looked at, okay, we've been this diabetes-based company, and we will never lose focus on our insulin using customers, because that's the foundation of our company, of our business. But there's so many more people who can benefit from our technology and can learn from what we have. So we're going to launch Stelo late this summer, and it's going to be really fun. We're going to learn a ton.
That's great. I kind of want to try it myself a little bit. When it,
Well, it's got no alerts. It won't.
yeah, no,
mess up an
not
interview.
as my main device. I'm just curious. I want to create
Yeah.
content and help spread the word and
Sure.
educate.
Oh, it'd be great.
But when it comes to the G7, I know there's been some enhancements. Specifically, one of them is rapid reconnect. Can you kind of explain to us what that is?
Yeah. As we launch the product, anytime you launch a product, you have a list of things that can make it better. Because from the time you develop and validate and verify and then get it filed and get approved, okay, well, I can do this, I can do this, I can do that. Rapid reconnect is a feature that whereby if you walk away from your phone for a long time, rather than a 5-minute wait to reconnect, the way the app and the transmitter works is they try and find each other rapidly. So you don't have a bunch of data and a big data gap. For example, sometimes if I'm wearing a sensor, I'll just leave my phone in the other room when I go to bed, and I turn the alerts off so it won't wake me up. And I go up in the morning, and in the old days without rapid reconnect, it'd take quite a while to connect. With rapid reconnect, that thing's looking for a signal every minute, and the data's populated very quickly. And so we've had an enhanced Bluetooth configuration and rapid reconnect to greatly improve our connectivity with G7, and we've seen great results for that.
Yeah, and I know there were also enhancements to range. This is something that...
And that's part of the Bluetooth chipset as well.
Okay, and it jumps from, I read, like 20 to 33. People can expect the range they had with the G6.
They can expect the range they had with the G6.
Okay,
Yep.
Okay, great. Now, were there changes done for this within the sensor, or was it software, or was it both?
There's a little bit of electronics changes on the board. And then there's software changes as well. Sensor science consists of about every type of engineering you can imagine, from chemical engineering with the membranes to mechanical engineering, putting the stuff together, software engineering on the app development side, but also on the algorithm side. And I showed up for work one day and I saw a wreck. I had to hire a packaging engineer because you need an engineer to design boxes that will not damage the sensor if they're dropped. So almost any engineering type there is, we have. And so there are changes across the board. We've introduced a new app or an update to the G7 app almost monthly since we launched it, with great new features, with great improvements. Our last big launch, we had direct-to-watch come. We also have some medication logging that you can have. We have activity data can now be ingested into the app and it can be seen. We don't correlate activity data with glucose data yet. That's a long-term vision of mine and something we'd hope to do in the future. But this app has really been a great platform for us.
Today's episode is sponsored by T1D Exchange. You can directly make an impact on diabetes healthcare, treatments, and technology by participating in the T1D Exchange registry. It starts with a simple survey about your life with T1D, and it only takes about 15 minutes. After that, you'll have a personal portal with ongoing T1D study and survey opportunities, from research on technology, daily T1D management, and more. Plus, some of these studies even offer compensation. Signing up with the link in the show notes helps support my channel, and it allows me to continue putting out free content. You can sign up at t1dexchange.org/diabetic or click that link in today's show notes. Now for the episode. So something I've noticed when it comes to adhesive, there has been a change on the adhesive. The one I'm wearing right now, this is different than what I've been used to for the last year. The last one was more maybe a little bandagey, if I may be butchering what that is, but this one seems to be a different. What changes have you been making to the adhesive and why?
Well, we recognized that there are quite candidly, more sticky adhesives that we could put on the product. And we've put a new adhesive into the G7 configuration that's, as we look at our inventory levels within the distribution channel, it's almost all the way in another couple of months. It'll be all the new adhesive. It's stickier. It will stick better. We study adhesives all the time. Adhesives are a very fine balance for us. Because if you make it so no one's ever allergic to them, that's great, and they fall off a bunch of people. If you make it so some people are allergic to them, but they never fall off, you get the same amount of discussion back and forth. So we study adhesives a lot. We go through a lot of studies and trials before we adapt one. This new adhesive is much stickier, and we're very confident our patients will have a better experience with it.
Yeah. Does this change in adhesive I know that there's been a change in your sensor replacement policy. And there has been a lot of discussion about it in the community, so I had to bring it up. And
no, I appreciate it.
Well, so what it states is that Dexcom will have 3 goodwill replacements for sensors that aren't found to be failures. Maybe they fell off, whatever. So I guess I'd like you to clear that up a little bit. And one thing I guess that was possibly a little concerning to me is it said that the 3 goodwill replacements will include procedures. So, for example, if someone in the span of 2 weeks had to have an MRI, a CT scan, and surgery, they'd have to replace 3, and then they'd be out of replacements.
Yeah, that'd be awful.
So I guess, and I've personally been in that situation. That's why it kind of resonated. So I guess I'd like a little clearance in what people should expect with this policy.
So let's start. We'd never had a real clear policy on this before, and we spent a lot of time studying it. We've been very good to folks about replacing sensors forever, but we also think from a business model perspective, unlimited replacements doesn't work for us either. So we want to do something that was very fair. We studied sensor behavior. We studied our customers. 95% of people don't have 3 sensors that come off for tape over the course of a year. Now, if your sensor fails and that signal quits and you get a sensor failure message, we're replacing that. That's our problem. No questions asked. That's easy. And so we felt with 3 sensors that would deal with 95% of the cases. We're going to adjust and adapt the policy more over time. We just wanted it to be clear. We always want to take care of our customers. We always want to make it best. Yeah. But we also want to make sure the business has boundaries. So we'd never formalized this before. A lot of thought went into it, and we'll continue to evaluate it and see where it goes. But that's the purpose of it. We want it to be clear to everybody.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I know specifically a lot of parents who, their 7-year-old who's running at soccer, they have no control. These kids, they're crazy. They're running, they're sweating.
And they get knocked off.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, it would be a burden for these parents if it,
so we will look at all that.
Okay.
I have had phone calls and emails over terrified customers who have an AID system that runs with the sensor. Now they don't have one anymore. So we'll look at this policy over time and do what's best for our users. No question.
Yeah. Now, direct to watch. It's here. I'm excited about it. Many people are. I'm wondering kind of what has the adoption rate been like? Or what has the reception been to this feature?
The people we've heard from absolutely love it. And it's very much, obviously, an athletic set. Athletes, if you're working out and you're going for a long run, you don't have to carry that phone anymore. We've heard a lot from parents who, rather than send their kid to school with a phone, letting it sit on their watch and being able to do this and look at your glucose rather than get your phone out. Now, you could do it with the phone in your backpack before, but this is just another level of patient interaction that people really wanted. I think it's going to be a great feature, and it really speaks to the creativity of our engineers. Way back when we designed G7 and G6, I remember literally arguing with the engineers, why are we taking so much time? Because we want to connect with multiple devices at the same time, and that requires a lot of engineering, but you can go faster. Yeah, I know you could go faster, but by doing what we've done, we can connect to 3 devices at the same time. We can connect to your watch, to your phone, and to your insulin delivery system. You can make a change on one of those platforms, and all the others are updated too. That's really incredible engineering, and I think really meets the needs of our patient community very, very well.
Yeah, it's a huge upgrade. And, something, of course, everyone got it, and now they want more. A feature that isn't available on it is Dexcom Follow currently.
Not yet, but it will be.
Well, and I wonder, with the Dexcom Follow, would that be coming? And Dexcom Follow allows parents often or caregivers to follow along with numbers. Would that or could that come from also the pumps? Could, say, Tandem's pump, which is receiving numbers, is connected to the cloud? Oh, no, it's not, I guess. Yeah, how do we connect it to the cloud? Would the watch need to have cellular capability?
Yeah, it would. And over time, it's one of the great debates in our industry. Who controls the data of the patient experience of an AID patient? The sensor provider or the insulin delivery provider? And so we have data sharing arrangements with our partners. We talk about it a lot. We've had our Clarity Cloud structure and our ShareFellow structure. built for a very long time, and we haven't had insulin data from those products in there. We've talked with those companies about it over time. Don't have a time frame for you. I would love to have it there someday. I think it'd be a great feature to be able, for followers to be able to see insulin data and to see that you actually took a bolus if you needed to take a bolus.
Could it be, is it a holdup on Apple's side? Does Apple need to implement, because battery life,
Direct to watch was a 7-year journey for us just to get our glucose data there. The watch architecture is far different than going to a phone. And so I think that'll be probably another challenge for us across the board. I don't know that the pumps will directly go to the phones ever, because I don't know that they can connect to more than one device. I don't know what their architecture is. So we'll just have to look at that over time. But we can get our data there.
Yeah. Speaking of data, I know that Dexcom has a recent clinical trial when it relates to CGMs and GLP-1s. Can you just tell us more about that relationship, or what you found?
You know, there are a lot of studies going on with GLP-1s using CGM, and most of the data we present and talk about is based on data we've derived from like payer databases or from insurance companies, where we can see all the claims that are filed for users. And what we've seen with GLP-1s, and pretty much across the board with diabetes, if you are using a diabetes drug and you're on a sensor, you have a better outcome than if you aren't. And so with respect to GLP-1 patients, and I've had discussions about this with many physicians, and I assure I'll have many of these discussions over the next couple of days. If a patient has a sensor on and they're on a GLP-1, they can see the effect of the drug. They can see the effect of eating less. They can see the effect of when they decide to binge and eat a bunch of sweets at night because they haven't eaten all day long, that their glucose is going to spike, and it's not a good thing. And so the changes that GLP-1s can enable people to do with their physiology are demonstrated real time on a glucose sensor, and it gives them immediate feedback. And particularly as you look out into the future, if people rotate off these compounds, if they've been on a GLP-1 and they've been on a glucose sensor, they know what a good day looks like. This is again how we believe our Stelo product can fit into this landscape. We believe it'll be a great product offering for GLP-1 users. We believe it'll be a great product offering for somebody before they go on a GLP-1, so they can see, wow, this is how my glucose goes up and down. Oh, I'm on the drug, look, I'm eating less, my spikes aren't as high. And then if they go off, they know the range they need to manage. And CGM provides that feedback. I mean, I had a person I spoke with yesterday. The guy had lost an incredible amount of weight, not on any drugs, but he had got on a sensor because I'd recommended it. And he said to me, you can't fix problems you don't know about. Because by going on your sensor, I learned what I was doing wrong. And literally gave me a 35-minute lecture on how CGM had changed his life. And he had type 2 diabetes, and he's in remarkable health now. So we believe we can complement these drugs, and we believe studies over time will show it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing all the stories and reactions to specifically Stelo too. I think it's opening up to a whole market of people who are going to gain access and information to stuff really they haven't.
Yeah.
Is there a date for Stelo? I know it was summer.
Late August.
Summer. Okay.
Yeah, we'll launch it in late August.
Okay, and that's via your website?
We're going to have a Stelo store, a Stelo website. You'll buy it directly from there, and we'll have various purchase plans and programs for people, and we're really looking forward to kicking it off. Okay. And then over time, we'll look at the distribution model as it gets bigger. We can possibly go through other avenues. But to start it, we wanted to make sure we had a bit of control and understood what was going on. So that's our plan with that.
Okay. And back to the G7 a little bit. So many integrations now. You're integrated into the iLet by Beta Bionics. Omnipod 5 is just around the corner. It's basically here. Tandem, both Mobi and the t:slim X2. But we want more. So are you thinking about, are you looking at, I know Twist, the Sequel MedTech pump that's coming out hopefully soon, G6 compatibility at launch. Are you looking at bringing G7 to that pump? There's European pumps like Ipsomed that currently works with the G6.
You know what? We talk with everybody, and we have relationships with many of these companies in the development stage. We'll certainly partner with others. We also want to offer the best product offerings that we can. And so it's a balance of supporting your current partners, yet being with the others. So we'll partner with some. There'll probably be some we pass on. But we'll continue to expand our universe as much as we can.
Okay. And I'm not sure you can say much about the topic, but I'm curious, is there a status report on G8? What's going on with
there's
that?
so many things going on in our R&D world. Our biggest priority is to get to a 15-day wear. And we want to get to a 15-day wear. Part of the stickier tape is to get to a 15-day wear. We have studies going on with that, and I think that is what we're looking for our next biggest innovation. On top of that, when we go to a 15-day sensor, we'll have a new algorithm to compute the glucose values from the sensor, and we're looking for more accuracy in addition to that. But every component of our system we have a project on. We have projects on insertion devices. We have projects in electronics. We have projects on the sensors, the membranes, you name it. There's stuff across the board. I think our next big innovation will be 15 days. And after that, you'll be looking at, this platform's got to run for 3 years before we go to another hardware platform. But certainly we'll look at smaller, certainly we'll look at better connectivity and more connectivity and all the things that our users want and demand from us.
Is Dexcom looking into non-invasive at all?
We study it all the time, and we've looked at several of those devices. We haven't seen anything that meets the accuracy standard that is important to us. But if something were there, we certainly would investigate it and possibly try and include it with our product portfolio if it was something we could buy or license and work with. But we haven't seen anything that is just that great yet. But we look at them all. We'd never be naive enough to think that we're the only people in the world that can do this.
Yeah. Kevin, thank you so much for taking the time. This has been awesome, and I hope you have a good rest of your ADA.
Oh, your questions are always great. Thank you. It's always fun.
Now, I want to hear from you. Have you had any experiences with the new sensor policy? Let us know in the comments. And I've got so much more content coming for you from ADA, whether it be twists, insulin pump, the Omnipod iPhone app, Medtronic's infusion set, and a whole lot more on social media, YouTube, the podcast. So make sure you're following me on all of those platforms. Oh, and before I forget, there's a new video up on my Patreon which shows off all of the technology I'm using to produce my podcast and make videos. If you want to see that, it's on Patreon with the link in the show notes. I'm Justin, and I'll talk to you later.